The eyes that do not see and the consciousness that does. When we say I see, it feels obvious. We open our eyes and the world is there. Colors, shapes, movement, depth. But the truth is quieter and far deeper. The eyes never see reality. The eyes only receive light. Something much subtler does the seeing. Consciousness sees, moving through the brain. Why two people see the same thing and yet not the same thing? Imagine two people standing in front of the same image. One says it's beautiful, the other says there's nothing there. Not because one of them is lying, but because reality never enters the brain as a finished product. The brain fills in, filters, predicts, erases. In science, this is called predictive perception. But in simple words, the brain guesses first and only then looks. If it waited for complete data, there would be emptiness. And emptiness is dangerous for the brain. So when something is missing, it invents it. When something doesn't fit, it smooths it out. When something doesn't match expectations, it removes it. Not out of deception, but to keep you sane. Why the brain cannot allow holes. In reality, the brain is a machine of continuity. If you were to see gaps in the image, jumps in space, meaningless fragments, your consciousness would destabilize. So the brain prefers to lie gently rather than allow chaos. That's why you see movement that isn't physically there. Connections where data is missing, fingers splitting, objects flying, optical illusions forming. Not because you're fooled, but because the brain is protecting reality. Eyes don't break. Eyes adapt. When a person spends most of the day on a phone at a computer focusing only near, the eye muscles perform one single repetitive action, like holding your hand clenched all day. The result, fatigue, blur, the feeling of worsening eyesight. This is not damage, it is adaptation, and adaptation is reversible. How to prevent vision decline and allow improvement. Nothing extreme is required. You simply need to return to the way eyes were designed to work. A natural guideline, about 70% of the day, varied, natural vision, different distances. About 30% of the day, close work, screens, reading. If that balance isn't exact, that's okay. What helps? Every 20 to 30 minutes, look into the distance for 20 to 60 seconds, consciously focus far away, then gently return to near vision. You're telling your eyes, you don't have to freeze in one world, and the eyes remember. Dim light, screens, and common myths. Reading in dim light strains the eyes but does not permanently damage vision. Screens do not destroy eyesight irreversibly, but we blink less and we forget distance exists. The issue isn't light, the issue is monotony of perception. Seeing without staring, what you mentioned, walking forward while sensing people on the sides, is very important. This is an older mode of perception, less analytical, more whole. Peripheral vision doesn't judge, doesn't analyze details, but senses movement, intention, presence. That's why you sometimes turn before you consciously realize someone is there. That's not the eyes. That's consciousness remembering an older language of the world. Why you don't see something that is right in front of you. When you search for something and can't find it, then suddenly you do. Reality didn't change. The filter did. Until that moment, the brain decided, open quote, this is not relevant. Close quote. So it removed it from awareness, not from space, from access. Hypnosis works the same way, just intentionally. That's why someone cannot see a watch that is clearly there. Not because it disappeared, but because consciousness was denied access. Hidden imagery, advertising, and subliminal perception. Some elements in advertising aren't consciously seen, but are felt. This isn't magic, it's working with what the brain processes before thought. Shapes, rhythm, contrast, symbol. The brain registers them, and consciousness later says, open quote, I don't know why, but something pulls me there. Close quote. Looking into someone's eyes and seeing the soul. When you look into someone's eyes and feel depth, you are not looking at eyes. You are looking through a tool into the presence of consciousness. That's why the moment can soften, quiet down, suspend time, because for a moment, two consciousnesses met without language. So what are eyes, really? Eyes are a gateway, an interface, a translator between light and awareness. But true vision is not born in the retina. It is born where attention, memory, presence, and silence meet. And the more silence there is within a person, the clearer the seeing becomes. Not more detail, but more truth.